28 minutes to destination. Distance to destination is 14 miles. So
14 miles?
Yeah, I lied when I said it was only 10 miles. That was it was to it was to the river, but then the hot springs are a bit like 4 miles further.
Oh, I see.
But we can stop at the river, you know, we're only 6 miles I think to the river.
Cool.
Or I could be wrong. Maybe 10 miles to the river.
Well, you say 6, well just add 4 more miles to that and we're...
Well, your guess is better than any of our guesses.
I never said I was, you know, an expert navigator. Hey everyone, I'm recording this video in my garage. It's Wednesday, which is 3 days after we were rescued by search and rescue. 3 of us left, so it was Kurt, Charlie, and myself, Michael. We left Cave Creek at around 9 a.m. on Saturday morning, and the plan was to head up to Verde Hot Springs, see that, and then just take the route back. What ended up happening was that we got up to close to the hot springs, and then our plan changed, and we ended up trying to look for really the fastest way to get out, or the easiest, not the easiest way, but the shortest way to get out, which then took us up towards Dugas Road in this Verde Rim, which was only 26 miles from where we were, as opposed to returning about 60 miles. And that's just where things went bad. So by 3:30 in the morning on Sunday morning, we were still out on the trail. And we had made it up to the top of the mountain, still had another 20 miles though to make it to any kind of road, and made the decision to call search and rescue. And so 2 of us had to be rescued. 1 guy made it out, that he was more experienced, was able to continue on. So that's what this video is really kind of about. So I'm putting this video together probably sooner than I normally would, just because I'm still processing stuff. It was a very difficult night. And I'm not necessarily a new rider. I've been off-road riding for probably the past 6 years. My skill level is okay. The bike, as you can see, is the one behind me. It is a pretty big, it's a big bike. It's, you know, the 701. So you could probably do this trail easily on a smaller trail bike. This was a heavy one. Gearing's probably not the best for it. But between 6 to 8 hours to cover 2 miles, and it starts at 6 p.m. when you're starting this 2 mile stretch. That what we thought was going to be, once we got to the end of the 2 miles, it would have been a much more rideable trail. And in this, what made this difficult was that we were tired by the time we got to this difficult part. By the time that we made the decision, when we were at the Verde Hot Springs, to go west as opposed to head back south, that was already 2 in the afternoon, probably 2:30. We'd already been riding for, you know, a good 5 hours. So we were kind of getting tired, which is what prompted our decision to look for the shortest route to get out, because we just didn't look forward to the 60 miles going back. So what ended up happening is that as we tried to make it out through this route going east, the terrain kept getting more difficult. The elevation, we were going from roughly 3,000 feet to 6,500 feet in a short span of time. And I think those 2.5 miles that took us those 6 hours, I think we climbed 2,000 feet. Elevation was, in hindsight, you know, yes, we know we shouldn't have done this. At the time, you just kept holding on to this hope that it's going to get easier, it's going to get easier. What made it harder, though, as well, is that Kurt had a couple of rough falls once we had passed Verde Hot Springs. And at that point, he wasn't injured. He wasn't too injured that he couldn't ride, but he was getting banged up. And with that comes exhaustion, and then more falls and more risks of falls. And then as things got difficult, then a lot of the burden unfortunately fell on Charlie. So Charlie would take Kurt's bike up and almost do the leapfrog thing. He would take Kurt's bike up, walk back down, get his bike, go back up, and then keep doing doing that. And then I was able to spell Charlie a few times and take Kurt's bike up as well. And then I did that a few times. But still, the workload really did fall on Charlie. And then meanwhile, Kurt just, you know, did like a slow mountain climb, you know, up this. So it was exhausting. All that made it very difficult. The other factor is that we had run out of water. We had run out of water by 6 p.m. I know I ran out of water by around 6. I think those two had a little bit more water that maybe lasted until 7 o'clock. But we were dry. So all of these things really kind of play in psychologically when you're in this, because you're in the dark, you don't have any water, you know that it's to get to a highway or to get to a gas station, it is like another 20 miles, but you just don't know what that 20 miles is. When we did get to the top of that mountain, where we were up at that 6,500 feet, it was still rock gardens, and it was still very difficult to kind of get. We didn't have the same kind of inclines, but it was still acrylic, and we were just exhausted. By that time, it was 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. And so it was at that point that a decision was made that, okay, we need to call the sheriff. So we got to call 911. We have to get search and rescue in here. It is so important to have that plan, and then you need to stick to that plan. It is not a smart thing to do out here, to change your plan once you're out there, when you do have then limited information, when you're out in the middle of nowhere, about what trails look like and what the conditions might be, especially if you don't have that experience. It is much better to go on the known as opposed to the unknown when you're in the desert.
Just tell me you're getting good video.
There's fucking crazy video. There's a lot of it though. That's the only problem.
All right, man. It's not too far.
Yeah, you know what? The GPS here is telling me to here, right?
Oh yeah. All right.
Sorry.
Let's just keep going, man. We'll get out of here.
1.5 miles.
Yeah.
So it can't be.
We'll get out of here.
And that's a main road, or
Yeah.
it looks like a main trail.
Let's fucking hope so.
You can go.
Okay.
It's all yours, man.
Let me at least get you through this, just for my own pleasure. fall that out.
Oh yeah.
All right, all right.
That's how a pro does it. Well, until that part. Okay. If this video is found, then it means that we're dead. We didn't make it through. So, these are my last words. I love doing this. And you really have to be prepared for the unexpected. And this unexpected was that the route we wanted to go wasn't what we did. So we found another route, but it's going to be really difficult and we're all tired. Okay, over and out. We're a fucking night now. Okay. Don't let it go down. Okay.
So now we gotta go back down this in the dark.
Did he have to go back up and get his bike? Oh boy. Well, we are in, let me hold this up here. We're in the middle of nowhere. And this didn't go well. We should have turned around when we were at the turnoff for the river, the Verde River, I guess. And we didn't. We said, let's go this way because it looked like it was going to be shorter, and it's turned into a 5-hour trying to get through 3 miles. It's brutal. So we are, we're out of water. It's gone way too long. And we're okay on gas. And we're just doing a really high technical route, which is really difficult. And it's, so there's 2 of us riding 3 bikes. It's a little bit too technical for Kirsten. He's just totally whacked. He took some big falls and he's wrecked. So we're just trying to get out of here. And then you turn out the light and then you'd be all alone in the dark. And all you could really hear was your heart pumping. And a bit of a panic, like your heart would pump, your legs would turn to jelly. Because at this point we were on the same hill, but a lot of times we weren't in the same proximity of each other because we were each trying to get the bikes up at different stages. Or Kurt was, walking up, and then Charlie and I were trying to move the bikes up. So whenever you had to stop, it was difficult. And then when you got stuck, it was up to you. You had to kind of figure it out. And there was at one point that I did get stuck about, literally we were almost at the top. It was like at that last, quarter of this, or eighth of this hill. And I just couldn't get unstuck. I was so spent. Finally enough time came by that Charlie came back down the hill and just was like, hey, like what's going on? And then he was able to help me get out, and he took it up that last little bit. But oh God, that was so hard. Oh, come on, fingers not working. So any words for the video now that it's a new day?
Careful what you ask for, you just might get it.
I'm thinking we should. Well, we're alive and search and rescue is coming to get us. So I think that's all we need. To just be aware enough of when you've had enough to call for help. Because you can't get out alone sometimes. You need to reach out and call for it, which then brings up a whole other thing around asking for help. Because asking for help is it's a vulnerable thing. It's like you're saying to someone, I can't do this alone. I can't continue on. And in this, machismo world that we're in, we get this in our head that we need to be able to do it, that it's a sign of weakness of asking for help. And in reality, it's the same thing in life. It's the same thing in business. It's, God, I can't believe I'm realizing this now. Asking for help is what moves you forward. And then you have to accept the help that you're given. I had to accept the help that was given to me, which was get myself out of here. Yeah. Wow, that's a lot that I've shared.